Education and Human Services Subcommittee meeting to order, 7 o'clock. Roll call, Councillor Montigny.
Present.
Councillor Ortiz is excused, he texted me. Citizen member Torres.
Present.
Citizen member Provost. I think he messaged me that, or he sent an email that he couldn't be here on a Wednesday, so
I saw that.
we'll excuse him. Do we have 3 is enough for a quorum? Okay. All right. So item 3, approval of the minutes for Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. I'll entertain an amendment, motion to amend.
I'll make a motion for the first one, and then if she seconds it, I'll make a motion for the amendment as well.
Okay.
Does that sound good, Mrs. Torres?
Yes.
Yeah? All right.
Okay.
Cool.
So, motion from Council Montigny, second from Ms. Torres. All right, so all those in favor of amending item 3 to September 20th, 2023? Those in favor, are you in favor?
Yes.
Unanimous. All right. And I just handed these out. I don't know if you want to look them over really quick. They're not as detailed as the last one because there wasn't a recording. But, and that was a really quick meeting. So it was basically everything was approved unanimously. I don't know if anyone noticed it. Is there any correction? Anything?
That's good to me.
I don't know if you wanted to look at the minutes. All right. All right. Any motion to approve?
We should be able to just vote,
Okay.
I
All
think.
right.
Since we amended it.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes from Wednesday, September 20th?
I approve.
All right, unanimous. All right. Item 4, review the town manager's appointment of Mary Ziegel to the Council on Aging, effective immediately through June 30th, 2025, pending state ethics. Entertain a motion to the town council to recommend confirmation or take any action therefore.
So move.
Motion by Councillor Montigny. Do I have a second?
Yes. I approve.
Second, Ms. Torres. Any discussion?
I'll say is that we had a recent resignation, and immediately Mary was recommended to come up and express her interest, and she came up and filled out the form. I spoke to her for quite a while regarding her interest. She works in a variety of different programs throughout town, and I think she'd be a good addition to that.
Okay.
So-
Any questions or further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions?
It's just nice to see everybody, you know, the minute we have an open, somebody
Yeah.
comes, steps up, so.
Yeah,
It is very nice.
It's good. So unanimous. Item 5, discuss and review acceptance of the FY 2024 RDP grant award of $8,800. Recommend to town council the acceptance of this grant and have the town manager to sign all related documents. Entertain a motion to the town council to recommend acceptance or take any action therefore.
So move.
Second? Okay. All right,
So,
discussion.
I thought somebody from inspections might be here, but this is the 4th year of this grant regarding recycling. They've always done a great job with that. It'll be more important to actually really promote recycling again over the next quarter to 6 months as we transition from our current method of picking up curbside collection to the new model, because they're gonna do, because we're gonna get charged now per tonnage and the like within the contract, and it's gonna be a percentage of what's called clean recycles as opposed to the dirty, they call it. So we're gonna wanna make sure that we do a lot of education to make sure that we target again, to make sure that we're making, that the recyclables that are going into the containers are the right recyclables. So I think it's vital, especially in this transition, that we continue to support this grant.
Yeah.
Any questions? Councilor Marquetti?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you. I was hoping that someone would be here from inspections as well, but if you could pass this on. I'm just surprised that we didn't qualify for more than 8 points. We had multiple curbside trash committee meetings, multiple meetings. We sent out mailers. We had Miss Congdon here. She put us through a whole series of training. I went to multiple meetings to discuss this. I went to the seniors, I went to the Hispanic group, I went to the Downtown Partnership. We talked about everything we could think of about trash, recycling, the whole, everything that we could come up with as a committee. And I was looking at their worksheet, and I just can't believe we didn't qualify for more than this.
Yeah.
So if you could pass that on, I'd appreciate it.
I-
I'd take another look at it, because
Yeah, no, I will, and perhaps Counselor, I can talk to Anna, and we can set up a meeting that you can come in and speak to her directly, because she's involved in it, and she would have, that way you have a really good conversation about how they went about assigning the points and all that, so.
I noticed that you can also get points for the pay as you throw, and I think at some point we might want to take another look at that, because, a lot of residents have told me, they don't think it's fair that somebody has 10 bags while they only put out 1 bag, and we're paying the same flat fee. So it's just something that not only would we get more, it would be a fairer trash program, we'd also get more points for having a
Right.
trash program.
Okay.
Thank you, that's all I have, thanks.
And I, if I may, I do believe that the Collins Center is gonna try to look also at the pay as you throw within that scope,
All right.
because this whole enterprise thing is turned into more than we thought it would be.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, I have heard some of the same sentiments about the bags, but go ahead, Councilor Lazo.
I wasn't paid by the bag, and I got beat up on it. They said it's not fair, we need a flat rate and all this, and I was like, I still fought paying by the bag. I mean, and the ones that I was concerned with were the elderly. They played in flat fee, and they have 1 bag of trash a week, where another unit could be a full family, and end up with, 8 bags, 10 bags, whatever. And that's why I thought if you use it, you pay for it. And I think the committee that they had, the trash committee, came up with the recommendation of the flat fee. And then everybody says, oh, come on, the flat fee by the unit, because if you have a multifamily, duplex, or whatever, it would be by the unit. And I said, I went along with it because the majority of the council all said, this is what we want. The committee said that's what they want. So I went along with it, but I still to this day think the fairest way is if you use it, you pay for it. So I don't know if you have to go look at it, and I would have no problem with that.
Yeah, I think what I remember from the conversation was that they recommended like a combination of things. And again, I do think that can be part of it, especially for getting credit for the recycling piece. And I also was curious about some of these pieces. It's unfortunate that no one is here, but whether they'll be doing some education at the schools as well as part, as part of this.
We have talked about what the education component will be. There'll be videos, training videos and all that, and we'll talk about the schools as well, because there is quite the training that needs to be taking place.
Yeah, because I think
So.
it's something that students are very concerned about, and I think educating families through their students and having, at open houses or things like that, having information for families, I think is a good way to educate people in multiple ways.
Yeah. I know Casella said that they would be, they would attend fairs, health fairs or whatever, to promote the programs that they have.
Okay.
Because their goal too is that they don't want to see us spend any more money than we have to.
Right.
And that they want, that stream, so.
Okay. Right. Any further questions, discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. All right. Item 6, discussion of the Thrive Act Joint Education Committee hearing at the State House. So I put this on the agenda because I just wanted to share information about the hearing that I attended with school committee member Carla de la Cruz Davila, and just kind of going over some of the pieces and at the joint committee where, and if people aren't familiar with the act, I know that Councilor Montigny did some work on this last year on House, I think it's on here, okay. House Bill 495 and Senate Bill 246, and an act empowering students and schools to thrive. And so I was encouraged that it was at the joint committee. They were hearing a number of bills, but this one in particular, there were students there were teachers, the teachers union, one of our current teachers, Miriam Sass, she was there to testify, and former teachers who had worked in Southbridge, teachers and town officials from Leominster and Holyoke, some of the other communities that are in receivership, a lot of people testifying about MCAS. They did hold off some segments of the testimony so that students coming from school, from Boston Public Schools, could come after school and testify. There was a lot of compelling testimony, not only about receivership, but about the impact of MCAS requirement. So part of the misconceptions with this bill, it isn't doing away with MCAS completely. It's only doing away with the component that makes it a requirement for graduation. And there were a lot of different educators and students testifying as to why that distinction is important, that it is important to have measurements, but to make it a requirement for graduation, hurts a lot of students, especially the students that are most vulnerable and the most high need students. In regards to receivership, I did testify. I talked about a lot of different experiences that families have come to our meetings and talked about, students and teachers. Some of the students that spoke at the school committee meeting, one of their parents sent a letter, and we have shared the information with parent groups. I believe they are still taking written feedback before it goes to the full house for a final vote, and I don't have a date on that. They were there till I think 8 o'clock that night, and I wasn't going to stay there till 8 o'clock at night. But there was a robust amount of conversation and discussion, and people speaking in favor of the Thrive Act in particular, and a lot of compelling stories that people shared about receivership and about the impact on students, especially students who are the most vulnerable, our students with special needs, and Latino students, students that are minority students who are the most impacted in all of these different districts that are under receivership. So I just wanted to share some of that about the Thrive Act, and just the couple of points. The bill would provide students with the support they need to succeed by implementing a new comprehensive support and improvement system that would support high needs schools with evidence-based programs, and the funding needed to sustain them, all under the guidance of local democratic control. And that is the important piece, that it is local control, that it isn't the state kind of being an overlord. Eliminating the ineffective and undemocratic state takeover system by ending all receiverships of districts within 1 year. And they have a detailed plan in the bill about that, and preventing the state from taking over additional districts and schools, and a plan to have stakeholder groups. And they talk about the school committee's role in that process. And so, again, there are a lot more details than the current law that's in the books. Supporting students by establishing a modified high school graduation requirement based on coursework as certified by students' district and as required by state standards. While students would still take the MCAS, it wouldn't affect their ability to graduate. Create a special commission where parents, students, and educators can shape a better future vision for student school assessment that is authentic, equitable, and focused on supporting the whole child. And I do think that that's also an important component that doesn't get talked about a lot, where they would create a commission that has representation from all of these stakeholders to review and talk about assessment and how students' progress are assessed. That it isn't just centered, that it isn't just these bureaucrats at the state, at the state level making decisions, that there are stakeholders that are part of that process. So that's what I have to share from that experience. I know Councilor Marquetti, you were, you were listening. I don't know if you wanted to share
I only
anything.
caught a little bit of it, I didn't watch the whole thing. Did you get a sense of any movement of trying to get receivership out of here, or did they not even talk about specific districts?
They did. So there were people from Lawrence who talked about their efforts and things that they have been doing. I think some of their officials were part of crafting the Thrive Act bill. They helped to inform it. They, in their district, they now have a stakeholder group that is part of the receivership. And so I think they're ahead of where we are, because we don't have any stakeholder group. It is just a receiver. And so they talked about their experience and how they got there, and gave some compelling testimony of why they feel this is the next step. This is an important step for the legislature to pass, so we can, again, create an off-ramp. And this really what it is creates an off-ramp for back to local control.
Did they give you any feeling on, I mean, the off-ramp there's different ways of getting an off-ramp out of receivership. The thing is, does anybody admit that receiverships are not working?
I think a lot of
Ain't clear, like, somebody that, it's not just Southbridge. I mean, we have other examples.
no.
And to me, it's like, if they're digging in, thinking that they're still doing a good job, I don't know if there is an off-ramp, as long as the mentality at that level is still that way, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, there were legislators that were testifying. I did not see our legislators there, which was disappointing. There were other things happening, other hearings and sessions happening, but many legislators who felt that this was an important issue took time to come into the session and testify on behalf of their constituents. Again, I did not see that from our delegation. And many, I know that the state auditor testified in favor of the Thrive Act, and many other legislators talked about the ineffectiveness of receivership. So there were many more people that were speaking in favor of this bill that would eliminate receivership, then there were proponents of it. And the only people that were speaking against the Thrive Act were focusing on MCAS. And those were sort of, corporations that probably have something to do with the implementation of the test. But those were very few, and no, I can't remember anyone speaking in favor of receivership that from the time that I was there. I don't know if you heard anyone speaking in favor of receivership. Okay. So,
I think a lot of it is that once they decided they wanted to target Boston, that is what now has prompted the cry against receivership. Because those are the big, that's where you're gonna get
Yeah.
the delegation, that's
Yes.
why it's moving as it is now. That's my honest opinion.
yeah. I mean, the majority of, obviously students and teachers, because they're in Boston, it was accessible
No, but
to
what I'm
them.
saying, that's,
But, yeah.
once they
Yeah.
So
said,
did they say that once this passes, how long it's gonna take?
They didn't,
How long will it take to pass?
I'm trying to get a timeline as to when it will go to the full session. It's always hard to get like dates and stuff. But yeah, I would think it's gonna be a little while. So, but yeah, that's all I have. That's it. Anyone else? Anything else? All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second from Ms. Torres. All in favor? All right, unanimous. That's it.